It's 21 November, almost exactly 59 years after the assassination of John Kennedy. We're going to get straight back into the JFK chronology with Black Op Radio, and we'll get into this and make comments along the way.
Spread over a half mile. Leading it is Deputy Chief Lumpkin in his pilot car. In the motorcade's lead car are Chief Jesse Curry, Sheriff Bill Decker, Special Agent Forrest Sorrells, and Agent Winston Lawson. Chief Curry seems more talkative than usual. The lead car has 4 motorcycles in front of it to trim the curbside crowds. 3 car lengths behind the lead car is the presidential limo. Agent William Greer is driving. Sitting next to him is Roy Kellerman. Behind them in jump seats are Governor and Mrs. Connally, then JFK and Mrs. Kennedy. Behind JFK's Lincoln are 4 motorcycles. They have been ordered not to pull up on the president unless he is endangered. Following JFK's limo is the Secret Service car, a 1955 Cadillac 9-passenger convertible. Sam Kenney drives. Emory Roberts mans the communications set. Mrs. Kennedy's guardian, Clint Hill, stands in the forward position of the left running board. John Reedy has the opposite position on the right. Behind them stands Bill McIntyre and Paul Landis. Glenn Bennett and George Hickey occupy 2/3 of the back seat. Also riding with the Secret Service are Kenneth O'Donnell and Dave Powers.
You're listening to...
Again, they went through the long list of Secret Service agents that are crowded into the Secret Service Cadillac behind the president, and as you can see, they are crowded. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I believe there's another one. 10 agents crowded into this Cadillac limousine, when at least 2 more of these agents should be up here running alongside the president's limousine to provide cover. But as you can see, they're all being crowded into there. And again, it opens up fields of fire. You see there from the grassy knoll is completely empty. Over here, you can see before the Simmons Freeway sign, there's crowds. After, there's hardly anyone. Another perspective is to look at it from the Zapruder film. Oh, that one's pretty tiny here. Hold on one second. Let me see here. So this is from the Zapruder film, and you can see even from Zapruder's position on this pedestal right here that Kennedy is a clear shot. Okay? So all the protection has been pushed back. All the layers of protection have been removed, giving a clear shot. And here's the pedestal that Zapruder's on. There's the tree right behind Zapruder, and there's the picket fence. The shooter on the grassy knoll is going to be right around here behind the Simmons Freeway sign. So what they're trying to do is clear the area, give it a clear shot for the final kill shot. Again, the shots coming up from the suppository this direction are just to distract people and to get them to look back. And let's take a look at that. Hold on one second. Alright, so on this photo, this one's pretty famous here. It's really clear to see what's happened. Now you saw that gap between the limousine and the Secret Service Cadillac. Now that gap is closed because Kennedy's been shot. You can see him right here. He's got his arm up. There's Jackie's hand. She's holding his arm, trying to figure out what's going on. Here's the 2 Secret Service agents. They're apparently not aware of what's going on. Obviously, this motorcycle, and as we saw in the photo before, the motorcycles are back here. Okay? Now, this motorcycle has pulled forward because Greer has tapped the brakes, I guess you could say, and slowed down the vehicle for the kill shot, because he heard the first shot. When the first shot went off, the Secret Service agents turned back and are looking backward. Okay, Even you can see a little bit of Connolly as he's turning to the right, as he says in his description and his testimony. I heard the first shot. I turned to my right to see where the direction of the shot was coming from. Then as I began to turn to my left, that was when I was hit. And there's other things about this really good photo. You can see there's Clint Hill. He's recognized that the president's been shot. The other two agents, the driver and the passenger, have also recognized that the president has been shot. See, they're looking in his direction right here. The motorcycle cop has noticed that he's been shot also. You see all the people lining the street here. Those clear out as they get closer to the picket fence. The shots are coming from right above here on the 6th floor and at the Deltex building, possibly on the roof from what I understand. So these shots are to distract, and that's exactly what they did. They distracted the Secret Service. They're all looking backward. And then when he gets into the kill zone, this little box, which is called the kill zone, that's when the picket fence shooter starts shooting. And he's aware of that by the Simmons Freeway sign, which is about right here. And the guy pumping the umbrella, there's also a man, a Cuban with a radio, clicking on that to let the third team know that he's in the kill zone to fire now. So this all happens within a couple of seconds. This is why, you can have a rifle that cycles like this. Boom, click, click, as he pulls the boat back, click, click, forward, then aim for a second, then boom. So about 4 seconds, 5 seconds to aim and shoot. This is why you can have gunshots that are faster than 4 seconds, because you have two shooters firing up here, one from the school book depository, one from the Daltex building, and then a louder, this Secret Service agent said that by the time he started running, he heard a different shot, a much louder shot. He didn't say coming from a different direction, but it was the kill shot. I think that there are a couple of shots, at least 2, maybe 3, coming from the picket fence, because Kennedy is shot before he reaches the Simmons Freeway sign. Okay, and then Connolly is shot. Okay, in his wrist, he's holding up. You can almost see his hat right here. He's holding up his hat. So how can Connolly be shot in the shoulder, pops out the nipple, hits the wrist, and then goes down and embeds into his knee there? Just very strange. Another really famous thing about this, see if I can blow this up, is... Oh no, it's not going to let me blow it up. But there was speculation that this might have been Oswald, but this was proven later to be Billy Lovelady. There's another picture of another person here that people are proposing is Oswald, called Prayer Man. I doubt that it is Oswald, because for one thing, Oswald's on the 2nd floor getting a Coke within 90 seconds, because there's another motorcycle policeman here who puts down, you see the video where he puts down his motorcycle, runs into the building there, and you still see Lovelady standing right there. Okay, so Oswald would have to go up to the 2nd floor immediately as the shots are being fired. Oswald was spotted on the 2nd floor about 5 minutes before the assassination, and then he was spotted on the 2nd floor 90 seconds after the assassination. So Oswald is not Prayer Man. Oswald's on the 2nd floor. This is why he's startled by the policeman with the gun. If Oswald was Prayer Man and he immediately turned and ran ahead of, the motorcycle cop following right on his heels, he wouldn't have had time to put the money in the machine and grab the Coke, and then be turning away from the door there. So Oswald's on the 2nd floor the whole time. All right. So that's some interesting things about that shot right there. So we'll keep going.
Selections from the JFK Assassination Chronology, read by Ira David Wood III. "12:00 p.m., November 22nd, 1963. Jane Carolyn Wester, a nurse at Parkland Hospital, is relieving a secretary for lunch when she receives a telephone call from the pathology department inquiring if JFK is in the operating room, not the emergency room. She replies no, and is told that a Secret Service agent is in pathology awaiting JFK's arrival.
All right, so this one here, I doubt this happened. I think because of the confusion and the shootings, that this nurse is just, it says 12 p.m., but I think it's more closely to 12:45 or 1 p.m. because Kennedy hasn't been shot. There's no reason why someone would be calling from pathology. And matter of fact, let me look up something. Hold on one second. And again, this doesn't make any sense because, look, this is a definition of pathology. Pathology is the study of the causes and effects of disease or injury. The word pathology also refers to the study of disease in general, incorporating a wide range of biology research fields and medical practices, all infections and organic diseases and physiological disorders. So it doesn't sound like the pathology department would be calling, even if Kennedy was in the hospital at that time, because Kennedy received a gunshot wound, not an infection, not a physical disorder. So it doesn't really make sense that Kennedy would be, or this nurse would be getting a call from the pathology department about an infectious disease because he got shot. And also the timing is off.
Webster is requested to call back when JFK arrives. Note, there is no record of a Secret Service agent at Parkland Hospital at this time. It is suggested that the man could be an Army intelligence agent. JFK has not yet been shot and is not in need of a hospital at this time.
Although, this procedure may have been different back then, but it's my understanding that even today, there is either a military group or Secret Service agents at the hospital. Wherever the president goes and travels, okay, there's always a hospital of last resort, I guess you could say. There's a designated hospital, usually near the venue where the president's going to be speaking or staying, that will have medical records, even blood, things essential for the president to survive, and is also checked out. They've done background checks on the doctors, the nurses, the facility, and there's going to be one or two at least Secret Service agents or military personnel in that hospital waiting, just in case. You know, the thing nowadays is to have every scenario covered, because if they shot Kennedy and then there's another fire team waiting for him at the hospital, or maybe there's a guy, maybe, for instance, the guy that's supposed to put Kennedy under when he goes into surgery, maybe his family's being blackmailed if you don't, maybe they're holding his family hostage. If you don't, increase the gas and allow him to die, we're going to kill your family. There was actually a movie about that, actually, or a TV show, I believe, where a doctor that was supposed to be performing on the president, his family was kidnapped or held hostage or something, was told that not let the president live if they wanted their family to live and stuff like that. So the person's going there, and then of course this doctor is being watched at the hospital by another agent, and this doctor's meanwhile trying to get a hold of people to get her family rescued. But that was very interesting TV show. I forgot the name of it, but yeah, there's always going to be someone at the hospital of last resort with medical records and files, and they've checked out people, and they've checked out the operating room. Someone could go in there and put a bomb in the surgery emergency room and just have it there and be sitting outside just in case. You never know, just to be sure. Because what if President Kennedy just got wounded in the throat and hit in the shoulder, okay, and they missed? If you've gone through all that expense and planning to kill him in the kill zone, you're going to have a backup just in case you don't get him there. Okay? This plan has to go forward in order for all the other mechanisms to crank forward after under Johnson. So this plan, Kennedy was a dead man, whether he got killed in Dealey Plaza, whether he got killed at the convention center, or the whatever that place he was going to do the speech at, or whether he got killed at Parkland. They were going to ensure there were definitely different teams ready to kill him, blow him up, shoot him, whatever. Kennedy was a dead man. There was no way he was getting out of that. You don't go through that much planning to let things go by chance. Okay? All right. Keep going.
Eddie Piper, an employee at the Texas Book Depository, sees Lee Harvey Oswald on the first floor of the building. According to Piper, Oswald tells him, "I'm going up to eat." Oswald then goes to the second floor and buys his lunch from one of the vending machines.
And again, that's exactly where he was found by Officer Baker 90 seconds after the shooting. So, wait, let me back up. Did I miss the time here? Hold on one second. Let me back up here.
An Army intelligence agent. JFK has not yet been shot and is not in need of a hospital at this time. Eddie Piper, an employee at the Texas Book Depository, sees Lee Harvey Oswald on the first floor of the building. According to Piper, Oswald tells him, "I'm going up to eat." Oswald then goes to the second floor and buys his lunch from one of the vending machines. Richard?
All right, so they don't mention the time there, but I do have the testimony and I do have the time later in my chronology. This is just a preview. We'll go over that again. Again, this is not the complete assassination. I'm just giving a preview of what happened. We got a lot more documents and information to go over. And again, like I said, it's really amazing when you go back and read. Okay, so this is basically what happened. You'd have witnesses that saw shit. Not everybody, because you saw there was hundreds of people there. Not everybody came forward and made a statement. Okay, but some people did. They either went to the Dallas police, they either went to the Secret Service, the FBI, or they went to the Dallas County Sheriff's Office. Okay, and so you see at the first level. Okay, so you have, we'll say, 200 people in the immediate Elm Street, Houston area witness area. And out of that, maybe 100 people went and gave statements to the Dallas police, the FBI, the Dallas Sheriff's Office, the Secret Service, the postman, whoever. Okay? Out of those, the FBI, because of the Warren investigation, chose to go back and re-interview maybe 50. Okay? And then out of those 50, the Warren Commission, I'm not saying this is an exact number, I'm just giving you an example how it works. The Warren Commission chose to put and include in their book 25 witnesses. And all those witnesses all basically implied, or it built the case for them that he was the lone nut and he's the one that did it. The Warren Commission completely ignored people who said Oswald either wasn't on the 6th floor or couldn't have been on the 6th floor, all these things. There was a woman in the Victoria Adams they completely ignored, who was on the, I believe, the 5th floor, the 4th floor, And as soon as she heard the shot, she went to the stairwell and went down. Now, Oswald got 90 seconds to run across to the stairs on the 6th floor and run down 4 flights of stairs. Meanwhile, removing his fingerprints from the gun, okay, and hiding the weapon, and then getting downstairs in time to put the money in the machine and get a Coke and be at the away from the Coke machine at the front door of the break room where he was spotted, and I believe the time was something like 12:15, 12:20. Okay, so we'll get into that, but that's how it worked. They wanted to pin it all on Oswald. They wouldn't leave any doubt, so they screened out people that didn't go along with their chronology. See, there's the reality chronology, and then there's the Warren Commission chronology.
Car. A steel worker notices a man in a window on the 7th floor of the book depository building. The man is wearing a brown suit coat. 12:15 p.m., November 22nd, 1963.
See, there you go. So at 12:15, Oswald is spotted down in the bingo room, the domino room, excuse me. So he couldn't be on the 6th floor wearing a sports coat, as was spotted by this witness.
Arnold Rowland, a bystander in the plaza, asks his wife if she would like to see a Secret Service agent. He points to a window on the 6th floor where he has noticed a man back from the window, standing and holding a rifle.
We thought momentarily that maybe we should tell somebody, but then the thought came to us that it's a security agent.
The man Rowland sees is not stationed in the now famous 6th floor window, but in the far left-hand window. Rowland also spots a second figure at the famous right-hand window.
All right, so there he goes. There's 2 people Rowland spots on the 6th floor, and we'll say this is the 6th floor here. Here's the sniper window on the right. Here's the left window over here. And it makes sense you'd have a spotter over here on the left, okay? Because if this, say this is Dealey Plaza, and this is Main here, and this is the Texas School Book Depository. As soon as someone came around the corner onto Houston from Main, a person in the 6th floor, the left window, would see them, the car turning, and the convoy before someone on the right window. So he could signal, okay, I'm sure they have spotters already coming in, but this would give an exact, that yeah, he's exactly there. Then he would signal the other shooter, hey, he's there. And then he would move over, okay, and be ready to, and then the other person would be ready to start firing.
This second man is dark complexioned, and Rowland thinks he is a Negro.
And there you go. So several of the Cubans that were in the anti-Castro group were Negroes, or dark skin, dark complexion. Now, I don't put that they use too many of the anti-Castro Hispanics because of that. Dallas, if you look at the photos, here, I'll show you again. Here's the street photos. You see, most of the people are white. You see the faces? White, 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 white. There's a few groups right here of African Americans, but the majority of people on the street are white. So if you bring in an assassination team composed of almost all Hispanics from Cuba, from whether it's various Cuban groups or whatever, anti-Castro groups, they're going to stick out. People are going to say stuff to the police. Hey, I saw a bunch of Mexicans running around with them guns, and you better err on that school book depository. Better go check it out. I think it's much more likely, I don't know for sure, that there were white neo-Nazis and mercenaries that were working with the CIA, that were training these Mexicans. They're former military people training these, not Mexicans, Cubans, down at No Name Key down in the Everglades in north of Lake Pontchartrain. They would be training these Cubans in, fighting techniques. So I think if you're going to look for the assassination team that's in Dallas right now with team 1, 2, and 3, most likely it's going to be members of that group from either No Name Key. There's even a group with Patrick Hemming, I believe is his name. But we'll get into all that later. But I find it highly unlikely that there were just Cubans or maybe even pro-Castro Cubans in, Dallas trying to assassinate the president. And for that matter, Steve Revell in The Men Who Shot Kennedy said that the assassins were Italian or French mafia hitmen. Okay, I very much doubt that because it was my impression that these guys couldn't speak English. So you're gonna attract attention. Okay, if you show up with people that aren't white, English speaking, don't have to be Southerners, but like that. So you want to reduce any. I think there were Cubans involved, and you'll see there was a man who fell down on the ground right here at this corner of Elm and Houston. Okay, about 5 minutes, no, I think 10 minutes before the convoy parade arrived and went into an epileptic seizure. An ambulance came and picked him up, took him to the hospital, but he never checked in. Okay, and again, some people say that was to distract the crowd so people could get into place. That makes sense because if you got all these people here and they're all looking in one direction, you can set up your fire team over here. You can run people into the building here. My problem, though, even though I support the theory that most likely there was a fire team in the Deltex building, there was a fire team in the 6th floor of the Texas School Book Depository, and there was also a fire team in the picket fence. I can see how the guy in the picket fence area could get away. I do have problems, though, trying to describe how a fire team of, say, 3 or 4 guys in each building could fire and then get rid of weapons and get away and not look suspicious. It is very interesting how that would happen. So we'll get into that later, but I just wanted to mention that even though there were Cubans that were involved, maybe in logistics, maybe in bringing weapons, things like that. Maybe there's a Cuban on the 6th floor, maybe there's a Cuban on the corner having an epileptic fit. You see there's no Hispanic-looking people here. Okay? So the Dallas of today is not the Dallas that it was back then. Dallas today is, what, 40%, 50% Hispanic. Back then it was a very, very white cow town. Okay? So I do believe that these anti-Castro Cubans were involved on one level, but the main shooters, okay, were going to be these ex-military CIA operatives, neo-Nazis and mercenaries who work with the CIA to train these anti-Castro Cubans. All right, so we'll get into it some more, and we'll just keep going. And he just skims over these things, but I'm going to go into much more detail on the exact times that's being talked about.
Windows along the motorcade are not systematically being watched by law enforcement personnel since no order has been given, as eventually confirmed by Dallas policeman Purdue Lawrence, although it was Secret Service agent Lawson's usual instructions to do so. Mrs. R.E. Carolyn Arnold, secretary to the vice president of the Texas School Book Depository, goes into the lunchroom on the 2nd floor and sees Lee Harvey Oswald sitting in one of the booth seats on the right-hand side of the room. He is alone and appears to be having lunch. The motorcade will pass...
And there you go again. So they missed the time, but I have the witness testimony. We'll go into that, where she says, I think it's something like 12:20, 12:25. So you think about it. The president is running late, okay? 15 minutes late. He should have been coming through at 12:15. Okay? If Oswald is going to be assassinating the president, he's going to be up in that assassination lair for at least 5-10 minutes, getting his weapon together, loading it, sighting, lining up the sights, sighting with the scope, things like that. He's not going to be down there eating lunch 5-10 minutes before the president comes through, and 5 minutes after the president was supposed to come through. Okay? And another thing is, he's exactly where Officer Baker finds him, in the second floor lunchroom. He's exactly where he would be 90 seconds after the president is shot. And you think about it, if the president is shot and Oswald is inside the second floor room, he's going to hear those shots. He's going to be like, what's going on? And as he starts to walk forward, he hears the commotion and people as the police are coming up the stairs. So he decides, well, no, I don't want any of this. So he starts to turn around and go back into the break room, and that's where the officer spots him through the door, walking away from the door, holding the Coke, matter of fact. And in her testimony, you'll read that he's sitting there at 25 after, eating his lunch and drinking a Coke. So there's no way, because there's testimony of people at 12:10, 12:15, 12:20 of seeing individuals on the 6th floor. And Oswald is spotted on the 2nd floor. So Oswald obviously wasn't on the 6th floor shooting. Somehow, maybe he was involved, or he knew, or he tried to stop it. I don't know. I don't know which one of those things, but he obviously wasn't firing the rifle. Okay? And you'll see the Warren Committee just goes and mixes all this up, takes half statements, and pushes their own agenda, which doesn't match up with the testimony. Even some of the testimony, the Warren Commission writes one way, and the testimony that they include, some of the testimony they include in their book, doesn't match up with what their conclusions are and what they say happened.
The building in just 15 minutes. The FBI will alter Arnold's report to say that she merely glimpsed Lee Harvey Oswald in the hallway. If Carolyn Arnold is correct, Lee Harvey Oswald is obviously not the man holding a rifle in the 6th floor window.
And did you hear that? The FBI altered her statement. Okay? So when you give a sworn statement, that's a legal document. You're doing that in front of a sworn secretary or something that signs that, saying that that's what you said. Okay? Because they didn't have a lot of recorders back then, so they, tape recordings, so you give a statement, and then you had someone that would type it up and say, this is what she said, and they signed to it saying that's what happened, and the FBI signed and said this is what she said. So what they've done is the FBI is, again, like I said, you get that filter with Hoover. These FBI statements come forward. Hoover doesn't like what this lady has said. So he's gone in, or he's had a group gone in and changed her statement to make it go along with the party line there. So that's an illegal, whether you're involved in the assassination or not, that's still an illegal thing to do, is to change someone's sworn statement.
At precisely the same time by Arnold Rowland. John Powell, one of the many inmates housed on the 6th floor of the Dallas County Jail, watches two men with a gun in the 6th floor window of the book depository building. He claims he can see them so clearly that he even recalls them fooling with the scope on the gun. Powell says,
quite a few of us saw them. Everybody was trying to watch the parade and all that. We were looking across the street because it was directly straight across. First thing I thought is it was security guards. I remember the guys.
Mrs. Carolyn Walther notices.
And there you go. So there's another guy, not included in the Warren testimony, saying there's two guys on the 6th floor. One of them's, messing with the scope. Now, if he's in jail and he didn't see anything, how would he know that this shooter had a scope on the rifle? Okay, and let me show you here. This was the jail right here. He would have been about right here. Okay, hold on one second. Alright, so here's the county jail. This is where he's at. He's right here. So, great thing about Google Maps is you can measure distances. Okay, so we'll measure to there. 217 feet. He's literally, what is that? 66 meters. That's a little bit more than half of a football field. Okay, so if he's on the goalpost, he's seeing this guy at the the 40-yard line on the opposite side there, on the enemy side. That's not close, but it's not far. But he can see the guy so clearly with the scope. And another thing that bothers me, though, is that if you're an assassination team, why are you going to be standing up like that so any fool can see you through the window? Because that's just going to give you away. Anyway, so that's another instance that someone saw two men on the 6th floor instead of one man, which would be Oswald. While we're doing distances, let's do some distances here. So, you see right there, they have an X in the middle of the road. X marks the spot. That's the kill shot right there. That's where Kennedy got killed. The first shot was about right here. Not very far. So if you look at the distance from the top of the school book depository to there, it's almost the same distance, 68 meters, 225 feet. Not very far. Not close, but not very far for a rifle. But, let's see. We'll try this. If you do from the Dowtex building to here, we'll put about right here. Not much further. About 20 meters more, 291 feet. So it's not that much of a difference. Okay? Now, if you take that and flip it to the picket fence area, 36 meters, 120 feet. Half the distance to hit Kennedy in the throat, or Conley as the car's here. And then when you get here, it's only 30 meters, 98 feet, very much closer. You could easily hit anything from that distance, even if you were a poor shot. So, the only thing that bothers me about the picket fence is, you see right here, there are steps right here. And we're going to see photos of 2 or 3 men standing right here. Now there's nobody else all the way up to the Dallas Simmons Freeway sign, which is approximately right here, or right here. So there's nowhere else between here and here except, I can't remember the guy's name, but his wife, or him and his son. And he said the shots were firing right over him, which makes sense if they're firing from the picket fence. The only thing is, these guys here don't react at all, which bothers me. So, but you see people over here on this side that are ducking, diving, which tells you there's shots coming from this direction. Because here, we'll do it like this. Like, here's Marianne Mormon and the babushka lady, but the people past them, about 3 of them, they're ducking and diving. So that you see how the shots here, as Kennedy's car's coming down, they're firing and missing and hitting into the grass. people are not going to be diving and ducking if shots aren't hitting either near them or over their heads. So this guy, he dives. This guy, he dives. So the question you have to ask is, why are these people, there's two groups of people ducking and diving over here, and there's people ducking and diving over here. You can understand why people are ducking and diving over there, because this is in the, the range of shooting coming from the school book depository or even the Dow Tex building. Okay? Or, if you want to flip it around, if you're shooting at Kennedy this way, which I believe this was the first shot, this would have been the headshot here. This is why people are ducking and diving, because the shot's coming from here, but I personally think it was more of a shot like that, because you have the motorcycle officer here. And here's another thing, the reason why, well, here, we'll do it this way. If this is the car, the limousine, there's a motorcycle officer here, there's a motorcycle officer here, okay? If Kennedy is shot and he moves forward, even if the car moves forward and the blood and whatever stays stationary and drops to the ground behind the car, it's going to drop here. But the motorcycle officer to the left, the back left of Kennedy, gets splattered with brains and blood. So that doesn't make much sense. If the shot comes from here downward, it's going to blow everything this way, right? If the shot comes from the picket fence area right there, then yeah, that's going to make a lot of sense why the motorcycle officer to the left gets splattered with blood and brains, because the motorcycle officer to the right didn't get covered in blood at all. Only the motorcycle officer to the left. So that kind of makes sense. That's what happened. That shots came from here, people turned around and looked behind them, and then shots continued. You have Tate getting hit down here. You've got people ducking and diving here. And this is all a distraction for people to look back. You got shots hitting Kennedy in the back and the throat. You got another shot hitting Connolly maybe one or two times. And then finally, Kennedy gets in this little box. You see right there? This is even better than any kind of kill zone in Afghanistan or Vietnam. You see, because you got places that are cleared there. You got a wide open area. You got triangulation of fire coming in from here, and from here. And when he gets into the kill zone, boom. That's the final shot that blows his head off right there. And then that's what causes, when the Parkland doctors, when the Parkland doctors give their descriptions we're going to go over, they're going to say that Kennedy had a hole in the back occipital parietal of the head, which is the back part of the head, not the front or the side. So that's what's going on there. Anyway, we'll keep going with the chronology.
Two men with a gun in an open window at the extreme right-hand end of the depository on the 5th floor. One of the men is wearing a brown suit coat.
It startled me. Then I thought, well, they probably have guards, possibly in all the buildings, so I didn't say anything.
Ruby Henderson sees two men standing back from a window on one of...
So, the confusion there with the 5th floor makes perfect sense. A lot of buildings in America and other countries don't count what we would say is the 1st floor as the 1st floor. They would call that the lobby or the promenade or, the main floor, M. As a matter of fact, you'll see in elevators, you'll see M. And then the floor above that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So this person that's giving the description of the floor that they saw could be looking at the floors and thinking, oh, that's the 5th floor. Because if you use the 1st floor as the main floor, the promenade floor. That's the main floor. Then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 would be the 6th floor. Now, right below the sniper's nest on the 5th floor were the 3 black gentlemen. We're going to go into their statements, and they're saying that they can hear the gun, firing boom, click, click, boom, click, click, boom, click, click, like that.
Of the upper floors of the book depository building. She particularly notices that one of the men had dark hair, a darker complexion than the other. Lee Bowers Jr., a railroad employee who is...
See, there's the African American or Negro or Hispanic person again. So there's definitely one person from the anti-Castro assassination team that's up there. Okay, maybe he's not the best shot. Maybe, and you think about it, you would definitely want someone that didn't look like Oswald, because he could easily get away. Okay, because if they're looking for someone like Oswald, he could definitely get away very easily. All right, keep going.
Perched in a 14-foot railroad switching tower overlooking the parking lot behind the stockade fence, sees a black 1957 Ford enter the lot. Bowers believes the driver is holding a microphone or perhaps a mobile telephone. The car leaves the lot around 12:20 p.m.
You see, so what they're doing, matter of fact, like I said, it's a organized operation. A military operation is what they're doing. So Lee Bowers is here. Okay. Again, if you're looking at Lee Bowers, where he's looking, it's 87 meters. Approximately the same distance that the person in the jail here is seeing the person in the window. So within reason. Just a little bit further, about 20 yards more. Okay. So he's seeing a commotion here, but he can't see exactly what's going on. But what he sees is a car come in, drive around, tour, and make sure everything's clear. And then the guy gets on a radio and sends back an all clear signal. Okay? And so that gives this team a chance to get ready. They're already here. Maybe one's dressed like a cop, maybe one's dressed like a railroad man. They've got a car here with the trunk, unlatched or open, ready to throw the rifle in. Okay? So he's got not an unobstructed view, because see, there's cars. You've got this, and he's looking at it from a back angle. So if someone's hanging over the fence, he's going to see them hanging out. But as they get closer to the fence, his view is going to be less. And also, you got to remember that he's working. Okay, and the only reason he's looking this way is because he knows that the Kennedy convoy is coming, and maybe he's just trying to get a view, but you really can't get that much of a view from here. But he does notice this guy, and then he notices another car come through.
Tom Dillard, the chief news photographer of the Dallas Morning News, sees 2 men in the arched windows of the 6th floor of the Texas School Book Depository building as the car he is riding in turns the corner from Maine onto Houston.
And there you go. There's another one. Okay, so let's use this again. There's the 6th floor, and he's in a car, a press car. Here's the president's limo just turning here. He's in the convoy back, and there's the press car right here turning this way, and 300 feet straight ahead, he sees 2 men, not one, but 2 men in the 6th floor window. Okay? There's another one. What is that, about 5 or 6 people that said they saw 2 people? Not one?
7 eyewitnesses report seeing a man wearing a white or light-colored shirt. 6 witnesses, and perhaps as many as 40 inmates, see 2 men on the 6th floor of the Texas School Book Depository building. 4 witnesses say the second man is wearing dark clothing or a brown coat. Most of the witnesses say the man wearing the white shirt looks like Lee Harvey Oswald. When Oswald is confronted by Marion Baker in the second-floor lunchroom of the Texas School Book Depository building moments after the shooting, Oswald will be wearing a long-sleeved brown shirt.
All right, so let's be honest, okay? Back in the 60s, most people didn't want to cause a fuss. They weren't, sticking out, wearing long hair, pink hair, blue hair, whatever. Everyone, it was much more conservative time. So most people dressed the same, looked the same, and, this is before all the hair stuff happened with afros and different hairstyles in the 70s. So most men had very short haircuts, okay? And so therefore, and this comes back from leftover from World War One, so a lot of them look the same. Now, I'm not saying all these men look exactly the same, but if you put a picture of Oswald up there with these men, and you're looking at him from 100 yards away, okay? And this is what, 1959, just 4 years before. If you're looking at someone from 100 yards away, and the police are telling you that's the guy that shot the president, okay? His face is all over the news, all over the radio, not the radio, but all over the newspapers. You've already seen him on TV, and the police bring you in for a lineup. Well, who do you think you're going to pick? You're going to pick the guy they had on the news that said that's the guy that shot the president. Because you want to go along and not be the guy that, were you involved? Maybe do you know him? These kind of things. You're going to go along to get along. Okay? Everybody knew what Oswald looked like because they had him on the news when he was first arrested. They had him splash across the news as he's been interviewed by 30 newsmen from all over the world. And then when they bring in the lineups over the next 24 hours, anybody who was in the lineup had already seen Oswald on TV, so they knew what Oswald looked like. And they, the way people were back then, they wanted to please authority, so they went along with that looks like it could be him, yeah. Because seeing someone from 100 yards away, think about it. If you're at the goalpost, okay, and you're looking at another guy standing at the other goalpost, are you going to remember his facial features, his eye color, the way his nose crooked to the right, his eyebrows, his hairstyle? Are you going to remember all that? Most likely not. You won't even be able to see all that unless you had a telescopic scope. But anyway, so the lineup, to say that all these witnesses identified Oswald is kind of a joke. And Oswald even mentioned in protest about the lineups that he was being put in there with people much younger and older than him, and even Mexicans. Anyway, so I don't put much faith in the police lineups with the witnesses because, the police have interviewed these people. They're bringing them in. Most people want to please authority and not be on the wrong side of the law. And again, it's 100 yards away, and they've all seen Oswald on TV already. And then when you bring Oswald in, and then there's, a bunch of cops in T-shirts, you're probably going to not have a hard time picking out Oswald.
Soldier wants to get a good view of the motorcade in order to use his movie camera. As he approaches the overpass bridge, he is rebuffed by a plainclothesman identifying himself as CIA. Arnold then moves off to a spot near the grassy knoll where he will watch the motorcade. And yet 13 railroad employees of the Union Terminal are allowed on the bridge. Police officers White and Foster are assigned places at the east and west sides of a...
All right, Gordon Arnold. We'll get into him later, but I'll just tell you right front, I absolutely do not believe Gordon Arnold whatsoever. I think he's just an opportunist. trying to press the girls in the bar with the story. Oh yeah, I was there, and I saw the shooter, and da 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 da. And nothing he says is nothing that no one else already had heard or knew. Okay, because this is what Gordon Arnold says. He says that he parked here, and he went over here, and he was gonna, come up to the bridge and film from here, and then he was chased off by a guy holding a badge that said CIA. Well, there's your first clue right there. First of all, nobody in the CIA is going to be running around in Dallas flashing their CIA badge. Okay? Even if there were CIA agents there, they're not going to be flashing their CIA badge acting like security. Okay? And it just doesn't make any sense, especially when there are other policemen. You can see in photos where there's policemen standing right here. Okay? So there's your first clue. Gordon Arnold's full of shit. Okay? And then he says, he starts to go back this way, and then the CIA guy came around and told him, hey, I thought I told you not to hang around here. So then he leaves, goes around this way, comes back, and he's supposedly standing by this tree right behind Mr. Zapruder, between Mr. Zapruder and the tree. Okay? And that's another one I don't buy, because if the guy's here and already chased him off, why wouldn't the guy chase him off again? And another thing about Gordon Arnold and his descriptions, in one description he says it's a guy flashing a CIA badge. In another one it's a guy flashing a Secret Service badge. So, which one is it, Gordon? Okay, another one which really gives it away is that he said he's standing here. There's a tree right here. Okay? He said while he was standing there filming, okay, you got to remember Zapruder's right here on the pedestal. So he's between Zapruder and the tree. And between the tree and Gordon Arnold, he says a gunshot comes over, passes by my left ear, which doesn't make much sense. Because if you think about it, okay, Kennedy was killed around here. This guy would have to be up over here to fire to be to the left of Gordon Arnold. Most likely, the shooter was here between the edge of the picket fence, not over here by the tree. And if you think about it, if you're over here by the tree, you've got the Simmons Freeway sign blocking you. So you're going to be here. Gordon Arnold says, and even shows in the video, that he's standing here. Doesn't make much sense. Another thing is, if Zapruder is standing here at the pedestal, and this shooter is over here, he'd have to somehow, re-aim around Zapruder, and Zapruder would have felt the shot also, which doesn't make any sense. I think Gordon Arnold is definitely an opportunist. I doubt very much at all that he was in Dealey Plaza or Dallas or anything like that. I think, everyone knows people and has heard people that are in bars, they get a little bit of alcohol in them, they're trying to impress some girl, and they start talking some shit. Yeah, I was in 9/11, and I barely made it out of the towers, and I saw the planes hit. I mean, how many people have, there was even a term for it, wasn't it? Called 9/11 sex that they had back 20 years ago? It was called 9/11 sex. Okay? And what it was is, when you got closer to the closing time, last call, you got a few drinks and you haven't found that girl yet, you're like, yeah, I'm depressed because I lost some good buddies on 9/11. I was there in the World Trade Center when the planes hit, and I barely made it out, and they all died. It's like Woodstock and all the other stuff. You can't prove that that person wasn't there because there were so many people involved. Okay? So it's the same thing with Gordon Arnold. He's a liar. He's an opportunist. Okay? And the only reason the story came out because he said it a little too much, and someone else heard it and told the news media, and then they came and confronted him about it. And then, you know, it's like that thing. Once you say a lie, you got to keep telling that lie, okay, and remembering how that lie went, and telling more lies to cover up the lie you told in the beginning. That's why you should never tell lies, because then you got to keep telling lies to cover up the lie that you said. So Gordon Arnold is a liar, okay? He's always been a liar. He doesn't know what he's talking about. It's impossible that the things he said happen. I don't buy his story whatsoever. Now, I'm always open to the possibility that I'm completely wrong on this circumstance, okay? But my gut feeling, the logic, and the evidence that I've come across says that Gordon Arnold is a complete fucking liar. Now, I may be proven wrong, you know. There may be, you know, the tooth fairy may be absolutely 100% real, but I don't believe it until I find out more evidence proving it, okay? Same thing with Gordon Arnold. That's just my opinion about it. All right, so we'll do one more and then we'll close up shop here.
Bridge that runs north to south. Access to the overpass bridge may have been limited to those with photography equipment. Deputy Sheriff Roger Craig is standing as ordered by Sheriff Decker at the 10:30 meeting this morning with other officers in front of the courthouse at 505 Main Street. Decker has ordered his men to observe but to take no part in the motorcade. Observing the motorcade route, Craig remembers thinking to himself,
There were no officers guarding the intersections or controlling the crowd. My mind flashed back to the meeting in Decker's office that morning and then back to the lack of security in the area.
Referring to the expected arrival of the presidential motorcade, Deputy Sheriff Jim Ramsey, standing near Craig, remarks,
Maybe somebody will shoot the son of a bitch.
12:17 p.m., November 22nd, 1963. A young man described as wearing Green Army fatigue suddenly collapses at 100 North Houston Street near the front door of the Texas School Book Depository.
All right, so there you go. So that would be right there. So that's a good distraction. The ambulance comes. It's about 5-10 minutes before the president's convoy gets there. It gives them a chance for people to get into place up the Daltex building there. So it makes a lot of sense. I did want to go over one thing. I want to go over this probably more later on, but here's the Daltex building. There is the 6th floor. Now this section right here used to not be here. This building part here. This, from what I understand, used to be a loading deck back here. Okay? You could easily have a car right here, and then there was some stairwells that went down on the right side, from what I understood also, that the shooting team could go there and escape down that way and then out the back. There were people that were found inside this building. Matter of fact, one of them belonged to the no-name Key anti-Castro group. I believe it was Patrick Hemming, and he was found in this building. Okay, and he was actually almost arrested before he was released, and then he disappeared that day. Hold on one second. If you look at the Daltex building, you'll see there's literally no other way to get out except for this entrance right here. I'm sure there's fire exits. Today they have, or back then they had these fire stairs that would drop down here. I'm not sure if this is a parking garage here. I doubt it, because it's got, air conditioning units there. But let's take a look at something. I wanted to see something real quick. Alright, so let's take a look. So, alright, so there is the 6th floor. Here's the back of the building. You can see there's the museum there. there used to be a loading dock right here. It wouldn't take much to have a truck, a van, whatever here, and then they could just proceed down these stairs here out of everyone's way. Because if you think about it, if all the action is happening up here, the shooting, people are going to be drawn to this area, and then all you have to do is move back, go down these stairs, and then you're out onto the street, and then there's a van or whatever that can take you away, or you may have a van parked in the lot here, and then you can exit, say, up these streets. You don't have to go this way. Now let's take a look at the Dowtex building. So the Dowtex building, you see, that's the only entrance right there. Let's see, is there another entrance? Okay, there's another entrance here. I don't know if these entrances existed at that time. And then, let's see, I believe there's another one right here. But I don't know if this structure existed. It looks like it's about the same age. So you could literally have a car waiting for you that the other team could enter. You could even have another van waiting here for you, or inside, and then you could be gone off in the same direction. Let's take another look behind the building here. Yeah, see, this didn't exist. There used to be a loading dock back here, and then here's the towers, the tower that the man was looking at. Now we're looking at the back part of the Dealey Plaza, and you can see it's not a very large area. Okay, so let me see, does this go over? Okay, so you can't get in there, but there's the picket fence area. This is the back end of Dealey Plaza. We'll go along the front here. Alright. So here, there's the tree right there. There's the 6th floor. If he'd been firing, he would have had to wait for the president's car to clear this tree. It's my understanding that there used to be a lamppost here, and that it hung out here, and there was a dent found on the lamppost that maybe one of the shots had hit and bounced off. This is, we're up in the 6th floor. Wow. There's the sniper's nest right there. There's the Dowtex building over there. You can easily have easy communication, whoever's over in the Dowtex building. Okay, now you see the sniper's nest, and then even from this direction here, so you can see Elm Street. You could even fire from here. Here's the other floor that the other person was spotted in, or the other window. Alright, let's see. Hold on one second. We're going to go back down to the street. This is the county jail, I believe, right here. And the window would have been right there that the guy was looking across. Oh, and at this intersection, right here is where the man has the epileptic seizure. All the crowds lying down. They took away the Simmons Freeway sign, and I believe it was about right here. Yeah, you can see where they had to put the new concrete right there. So the Simmons Freeway sign would have been blocking, and as you see in the Zapruder film, it's blocking Zapruder's view. He first gets him over here. Kennedy's waving to the right. And then Kennedy, when he gets about right here, he hears something and looks to the right. I believe that was the first shot that fired and hit the lamppost and then went over here, it bounced and landed over here and hit Tague. but that's just speculation. And then, as Kennedy passes the Simmons Freeway sign here, that's when another shot occurs, and Kennedy is shot in the back of the neck. I think he's hit in the back, and then he's hit from the front in the neck also. And then you see the umbrella man's here, the Hispanic radio man is here, and then Kennedy gets about right there, and that's where the shot comes down. Now, Gordon Arnold's saying that the man was shooting from like either there or there. I believe from right there. That's why I don't buy this story. I believe the shooter was about right here, or maybe here. That's just speculation on my part. And then again, you see people over here, and you can see where people have gone along, probably at night, and tried to dig up with metal detectors, dig up any kind of bullets found in here. But this is where the people, Marianne Moorman was here taking the photo, and then there were people here that were diving for cover as the bullets came down. And then one of the, I believe Hargis, one of the motorcycle cops was about right here. When Kennedy gets shot, boom, the brain scalp piece flies off. The motorcycle cop gets hit with the blood and the scalp matter and brain matter right here. So that makes perfect sense. If you draw a straight line from where the motorcycle cop's behind Kennedy to where Kennedy's at, he goes right back to the picket fence there. So that makes perfect sense. The only thing that bothers me about the picket fence shooter is that there are 3 men on the stairs here. When Kennedy is shot, they react to seeing Kennedy. They don't react to the gun going off and hitting Kennedy. They react to seeing Kennedy head blown off. So that tells me that maybe there was some kind of silencer involved, because you would react to a gun going off behind you. You would be turning around, diving down. That's what you'd be doing. And also there's Bill and Gary Newman, I believe. There's 2 groups of people here, one with their children, another guy with his child, and they're all diving down right here, but no one else behind them is diving. So it tells me that shots are coming. They're about right here. Shots are coming from behind them. Okay? And if you look where they drop down, there's one group here and there's one group there. And that doesn't exactly line up with the last shot, now does it? So that tells me that someone was firing before the headshot, maybe 1 or 2 bullets from behind the picket fence, and it went across him. Anyway, so we're way past time here. I'm going to give up and stop, but I did want to go over that to kind of get the lay of the land, and I love Google Maps. Very, very helpful. All right, take care. Bye-bye.